Hello, everybody. I am Sun Psychic Jean, and please welcome Stacey from Sacred Keycodes. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Jean. Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity to connect to your lovely audience.
I'm so much looking forward to this. I just am a big fan of everything that you do, and I'm so excited that this new feature is really taking off for you. And I wanted to have Stacey come on the channel and share what she does with all of us. And she's going to teach us a little bit about our spirituality and about how she came into her art and how she grew through her art and also what she does with her art. So as you can see, Stacey has an art in progress right behind her. And Stacey, did you want to start with that and just describe what that one is?
Um, yeah, so I guess a little bit of backstory. So I work within the Akashic Records and I integrate that with my art and I bring through what I call soul code portraits. And so it's a very intuitive process where I usually start with like an abstract background layer where I really tune into energy and color and kind of the vibration of that person. And then I'll add in kind of their physical body, right? Because we are in a physical embodiment. And I think that this lifetime is so important, especially because this is the lifetime where we're really becoming conscious and we are bringing back and mending our soul aspects and anchoring in that light. And then after I do that, I really start to weave in more of these energetic patterns or key codes and symbols within the piece. And the reason I love the symbology is because if you have ever gotten an Akashic record reading, it's very symbolic, it's very metaphoric. And I find the same thing with art. And I think the reason that that is so important, especially when we're getting a spiritual reading or we're creating art or like looking at our beautiful oracle cards or whatever it is that symbols are very multidimensional. So it's like when you look at a symbol, one day it can mean one thing and then the next day it can mean something totally different. And so with these paintings, they really evolve with you. And as you change, it's almost like the imagery and the meaning behind it also changes, just like you start to see yourself in a different light and you start to see the information in a different light and you can start to embody it on a deeper level. So,
Okay. So just to back up just a little bit. So how did you start with your art and now what would you call this? A soul key code reading or what do you call the art?
I call them soul code portraits just because
Okay.
I feel like, it matches my brand for one. But also it is about bringing in those key codes and those activations and that soul remembrance. And so I like to leave it really open-ended because I think these pieces, they really are here to activate you and help you bring in that remembrance. And kind of how I got started, it's been like a long process. It's like I've dipped into my art and I've dipped out of my art. And I've always found, just humans to be very interesting. It's like we have so many problems, but we also are so magical and we have so much within us to share with the world. And I think each individual has that. And to be able to pull that out and to give somebody that kind of mirror to see that is just like a gift for all of us. And so um, the biggest shift that I've made in deciding to do these was at the beginning of this year, I think around springtime, I actually entered an art contest that Elizabeth April was putting on. And I was just really inspired to create something because I hadn't painted in maybe like a year. And, the subject was just around her. And so I kind of decided to tap into, her her essence, and then just all these things that were about her. And at the end of it, I ended up winning the contest. And other people, they just started coming to me out of the blue asking if they could have their own. And it kind of started evolving into soul code portraits. And I also started opening people's records and stuff because I already did Akashic record readings. And it really started to create like this beautiful synergy where I could really tap into this broader picture of who they were and to help give that deeper transformation, because I'm sure we've all had a reading and we'll go into those readings and it will be a beautiful reading. And then it's like, in a few weeks or a few days, sometimes we just totally forget about it and we brush it under the rug. And this is something I feel like that brings a lot deeper of a transformation. And it's something that you carry with you, It's like if you're going to get one of these pieces, they're usually going to be with you for like a lifetime. So.
And they carry energy and frequency.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an energetic quality to that. So let me go ahead and bring up some of Stacey's other works of art here that she's now this is somebody asked you for a soul code portrait, and this is your client here, and then the images around them. So the person in the portrait is your client with the images around them. So if you need me to move in, can you tell us a little bit about what we see here?
Yeah, so this one is actually one of the first ones that I did. This is the one for that art contest that I entered. And so she, I don't know if you know her or not, but she definitely has this, she's like a remote viewer. She does channeling. She's very interdimensional. And so it was really about kind of bringing in both like a combination of how people see her, as her brand, but also just like that different kind of energy. So at the beginning, I also usually get like a little word or phrase. And so this one's called shift. And I think like one of her superpowers is like the ability to almost like shift her frequency throughout like these different kind of dimensions and realities and frequencies in the moment. And I feel like she's also, here to help awaken a lot of people on their path. And she has such a massive mission. And I just wanted to keep this one like very open, very etheric, because I feel like she has such a huge energy and impact that she's making, and especially tied to the earth. So I like to put that little aspect there, but also like all the little planets, all her cosmic travels, all her connections to different galaxies and dimensions. And that great alien aspect is one of the soul aspects that she was really tied to at the beginning of her work. Oh. And when she first started coming online, she was known as like the alien girl, but she's definitely shifted and is in the process of shifting out of that. And she is the most kindest, loving person. She has such a beautiful energy, and she's very tapped into so much,
So I feel this. I feel like when she would channel, this aspect of her would come through her. Yeah. And I see her like moving from her 3D human aspect into like almost something in between. And then this is the energy, or the energy sentient being that she would channel through her, right? And then this is amazing. So what is this? Is this her higher self? What is this going on here?
Yeah, for that particularly, it's, again, it's very multidimensional, metaphoric, and it kind of reminds me of her light body, but also that multidimensional travel, right?
Yes.
Leaving the body.
Okay. Yeah.
And, that really comes through like the activation our DNA, where we start to bring in those encoded aspects and start to remember who we are. And I mean, I think it's really tied into her psychic ability, is the ability to move beyond the physical form, right?
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
also be that bridge between like the physical and the non-physical.
Wow. 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 And are these, uh, is this, wow. Can you tell me what this is down here? I don't want to assume. What is, I know this is Earth. What is
Yeah.
this?
So with that, I feel like we're kind of ascending out of the dark ages, right? So it's like that dark circle. It's like we're moving out of this old black and white paradigm, and we're bringing new light into the earth, right? And I feel like also kind of having it over where her heart space would be. It's like
Oh,
we're I feel like her mission for humanity is so close to her heart. So
oh. So this is the new Earth. I didn't want
yeah.
to assume that the old Earth or the new Earth.
Yeah.
I didn't want to speak for you, in other words.
Okay.
But really, really cool. So does she have a connection to a being that's on a craft right now? Is that where
Yeah.
this being is? Okay.
So actually it's not like I think the gray was really her beginnings. You know, it really helped activate her and kind of bring in some memories and codes. But the little spaceship, it actually says GFL. And so a lot of her thing that she does every month is channeling the Galactic Federation of Light, the GFL. And so I
Oh,
wanted something to kind of symbolize that and bring that in. So yeah.
wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. And obviously, well, you would obviously you can see Stacey has the actual painting behind, or an actual painting. So you
Yeah.
do all this freehand. This is not a computer generated or
Mm-mm.
altered. No, it's
No,
all freehand.
they're all hand painted acrylic on canvas. And I know with AI art, it's like everybody just wants like the quick gratification and the cool image. But I really, like you said, I think there's something more palpable when we create something with our hands, you know, through our spirit, through that creative force that people can feel. You know, it
Mm.
feels different than an auto generated image, just like an auto generated message. It feels different. And I think people really notice that and feel that. And so, although it takes forever, I really wanted to stay true to that and honor that for people who decide to take that journey.
Wow, that one was extremely dynamic, and I could feel the energy and the it's so beautiful what I feel and what I see in my mind's eye to have somebody actually, you know, just illustrate that, like I always say, I wish you guys could be in my head right now and you see what I see. Well, go to Stacey and she'll show you what she sees in her head, because it's like one of the biggest. It's not always easy. So let's go. Oops, I tried to do it. Let's do it this way. So this is another one. Actually, let's do it. What did I did something wrong, you guys. Hang on a second.
Okay.
No. No. Stacey, there it is. Okay. I got confused. Okay, so this is another one. This is your just tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this one I think is very much that warrior energy and bringing in that divine feminine strength. So this lady, she is definitely a powerhouse. You know, she's actually my mom.
Oh,
And
great. And this is her. This is your client right here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I felt really drawn to make one with for her because after my first one, she was like, "Why did you get rid of the painting? I wanted the painting." I was like, "It was for her, and she wanted the painting." And so I really decided to do one for her and to honor her energy and what she's about. And when I look at her and all she's gone through, at the end of the day, she is just an embodiment of strength and divine feminine power. But she also has such a deep wisdom, you know, and a deep knowing. And there's just so much more than I think people notice her like at the surface level. So yeah.
Wow. And what is this light language that's written on her arm? What is this, or is this a representation?
Yeah, so that's actually runes.
Oh,
So she has in the past couple years or so, through her own journey, has kind of started to take her own awakening path and kind of fallen back more into that Celtic mysticism, kind of like that ancient witchcraft, all of the beautiful old kind of ways that we were connected to our intuition. And interesting enough, like through this journey with her, I also started to remember and recognize and ask questions about our own lineage, because like growing up I was like, people are always like, where did your intuition come from? Like, were you always psychic? Were you always intuitive? And I was like, no. I was like, my family was completely not spiritual, completely not religious. But just to come to realize that actually they were very spiritual, they were very witchy, they were very intuitive. But my mom didn't bring that over. She was like, we're just going to shelter the kids. We're going to get out of this kind of chaos and have this normalcy, because I think for a lot of the time, just kind of that warrior energy, she was also trying to survive. So, yeah, I
yeah.
think having that reawaken, it was also a very healing journey for me, and connecting to all this information that had kind of been hidden under the rug from even my own consciousness. So, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this image on her leg. It looks like DNA to me, but
Yeah. Yeah. So the way that I kind of interpret that, it's like there was this deep rooted consciousness and this like ancient knowledge, especially within the Celtic line, and even with the druids and stuff. And I think that connecting in with the earth and the ways of the old is really the way that she starts to activate her wisdom, because she's very much a pioneering soul, we'll say, very different than everybody, has her own opinions and ways of doing things. But also, it very much resonates with, the way that the old world was, how interconnected we were with the plants, the animals, the tree spirits, and all of that around us. So,
I love it. I see so much of the symbology throughout.
mm-hmm.
And did you mention a little bit about this voyage? Is this her past life, or is this just what you saw in the Akashic Records?
Yeah, so it's that multidimensional aspect. It is tied to some of her past lives, and also I feel like it's really taking a voyage into the new, because just like with the mountains and the rocky waters and the red seas, it's like there has been a lot of struggle, there has been a lot of climbing past, but there's also a way through. And it's like she's really pioneering the way, and it's just finding that, right? And she's also, at the same time that she's going through it, she also has, herself above it protecting her along the way. So
Wonderful. So you guys, we have more to show you, just so you know. But I just wanted to ask Stacey a little bit about your journey. How you and I met, I guess, a year and a half ago through Daphne, and we were um, doing some readings together, doing different projects together, doing classes together, doing introductions and information, and it was just so much. It was so the information is it's just a vast and endless knowledge of important aspects, and it's hard to sum this up. All of our experiences and all of our feelings and our for lack of a better term, our gifts or our abilities that expand and bring us to different places, and to express this. So how has uh, doing art is one of your creative, you do art, but how does doing this art, and doing this art through the Akashic record reading, and then doing this art over time, how has this evolved your spirituality and your awareness? Are you learning? Does it like pull you in? Do you hear things when you're actually painting? Does it change you? How do you and your spiritual sort of connection develop or change through the process?
Yeah, so I mean, I completely agree with what you said. It's like so vast and there's so much that it's hard to kind of narrow down your journey in a few minutes. But I will say that especially this year, I feel like it was a year where I kind of came to myself. Like, I'm a very collaborative person and I like to connect with other people, and I like to know about everything, all the spiritual modalities, all the reading styles, like all the things. And with this, it was like a space to really find my own path. And
Mm,
it was kind of ignoring all the shoulds or all the how to's, because like when I was passionate about art a couple years ago, it was always like, well, you're never going to make a living from that, there's no point. Or people would say like, you're doing nothing with your time, and it's like, well, I'm making myself happy. But that wasn't, you know accepted by society. And so I think this year I was kind of like, wow, I really wasted a lot of time. I really wasted a lot of time trying to be something for someone else. And I kind of took that back and said, I'm just going to do what I want to do. And I think that was the biggest shift for me within this, because I guess I really started to find myself again.
yeah, and I can see that that's making you emotional, because we try and we try and we try, and when we feel this, I feel like this is what I should be doing, and I just don't feel like it's what I should be doing. Like I feel like I'm doing the right thing or going in the right direction, but something just doesn't feel right. And we're,
Yeah.
society and conditioning and expectations and what other people do with their art, or what other people do with their on their journey. And really it's about listening to our higher self, our spirit guides and angels, and all of that combined, and following the opportunities as they lead us. And when you started that contest and did that first piece of artwork, it just opened up. And you probably, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how did you feel that this was, that you had finally found it, or were you still like, well, let me try it again, or let me see, or
um,
at what point do you feel fulfilled and led and drawn, no pun intended, to this?
Yeah. Well, the way it happened, it was just very organic. When I did it, I didn't have any expectation. Where like before it was like, if you're going to do something, you need to be productive, you need to have an outcome, you need to make money, you need to do all these things. And the shift was, I'm just going to do it because I enjoy it and it made me happy. And I did it again. And then people just started coming to me and they're like, will you do it for me? And like, I'll pay you and all these things. And it kind of just evolved organically. And I think the biggest thing was, like you said, it was more so following that guidance and that thread of like, what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled, instead of trying to convince everybody else, like, oh, do you think this is a good idea? Should I do this? Is this right for me? When they're just going to mirror what they think for themselves. So if they have a self-limiting belief, they're going to project that onto you. If they feel like they couldn't do it, they're going to say you can't do it. So it's like really separating that. And then also it's like, there's going to be, when you're following that highest path, and when you're really just creating or doing things from that inspiration and what feels good, like what truly feels good, what are you passionate about, what lights you up and what lights other people up, and when you really find that, it's like the universe kind of echoes that back to you, and you get to feel more of that. And I think it's just this beautiful cycle. And then also I kind of let go of trying to go 20 steps ahead, because I think a lot of us, it's like we'll get that beautiful divine inspiration and then we'll try to figure it out. Like, what's the outcome going to be? What do I do next? How do I keep this going? And we'll try to put all these things in place when really we're just like building blocks around ourselves. That's making us box in. That's limiting our potential, because it's like, I don't know who I'm going to touch. I don't know who's going to see it. And a lot of the pieces that I make, even if it's not for that person, there's other people who connect with it, just like the one that I did for my mom. Like, I had multiple people reach out to me and they're like, is it for sale? Can I have it? It resonates so deeply with me. I feel like I'm her and all these things. And so I think just really staying open, especially on your spiritual path, because, we can kind of get led down this path to like all these modalities and trying to be in all these things and like how everything looks, but really we're following somebody else's spiritual path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they
Mm-hmm.
created those those kind of guidelines, those boundaries, but what if we do it different? So like, for example, like you were talking about how the art has evolved me personally, and within the last few spirit portraits I did, I've been connecting more deeply with my own Akashic records and healing and stuff. And the biggest change was my Akashic records guides. They were telling me how I keep going up. So it's like, how when you enter the Akashic records or you connect to a spirit guide, you're told to visualize going up higher in consciousness. And they said, it's no longer about going up, it's about going within. And when you go within, you have all of that light, you have all of that knowledge inside of you, and you're anchoring more of it in. And so making that space and going within, I think, has been the biggest shift. And I thought it was such like a beautiful metaphor. And it's really kind of how my path started, which was going into the heart space. And like, I could see it weave through all these different experiences I had. Like when I started connecting with my oversoul through my heart, when I got my Akashic Records attunement, they left the key to the records and the library in my heart. And it was just like a beautiful remembrance that it's like, we really are meant to come back to ourselves and not only bring light down, bring our higher self into our body, but also to reactivate all the memories and all the codes that are within our DNA. And I think it's like so powerful when we start to shift that perspective that our ascension isn't just something outside of us. It's not going to a higher elevated state, but it's like, how much of your soul, your higher self, can you start to embody in this physical incarnation? And I think the soul portraits are a beautiful representation and reflection of that, because it's really, how can you embody this here and now into your physical form? So,
Well, I just want to chat with you all day long and find out more and more and more. So, this is the next one. And again, this is your client. Your client
yep.
comes to you, and I'll show you her website, everybody, and show you how to connect with her and get your own soul code portrait. And this is your client, and you meet with them when you're doing the Akashic reading, and then tell us a little bit about the process, especially maybe pertaining to this one. How did you connect with this client?
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
how did you connect to her Akashic records?
yeah. So, my process has kind of evolved throughout these, just because I've kind of really started to do these this year. And so with this one, it really, it kind of follows the same process. Like all the way from the beginning, it started with just color and energy on the canvas. And from there, it's like bringing things forward and starting to emerge. And for this one particularly, I remember it was really about her being seen. It was really about honoring that herself, her embodiment, who she is, and to start bringing herself out into the world without having all these projections or filters or all these things. And so
Mm,
that's really why hers is a little bit different, where it's just her full face, her
mm,
full body. And also, I mean, I guess she's not wearing clothes, but it's just about almost having that vulnerability to stand up and be in your own skin. And there was also this beautiful activation of light, coming from her heart and through her throat. And she definitely is a channel. And that's kind of her gift, but also kind of her biggest struggle is to stand up, to talk in front of people, to be seen. But that's really when things start to open up for her. And I remember this beautiful golden phoenix rising, um, because there's such an energy of kind of being beaten down in this world, metaphorically, um, and almost like afraid to stand in her own power and to really shine her light. And it was really an invitation to really start spreading her wings and rising up. And this is like where her higher consciousness starts to really come online, and where she starts to receive those downloads and codes of light that kind of have, in a way, been missing. So
I love the mermaids and all the sea animal or the
yeah,
whales, and I guess she's connected.
yeah, she has a deep Syrian connection. So very
And
watery, very elemental. Go ahead.
does this painting have a healing quality for her, or for everybody who looks at it? Because I feel a lot of healing, especially in here. And it's active. I can
Mm-hmm.
feel the vibration from the healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're it's I feel the vibration off of this one. The other ones, are nice and have codes in them, but this one, it's so very, I don't know whether it's this deep blue that is
Mm-hmm.
so very healing, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of healing going on in her body. And like you said, she was she not in her body? I don't want to like reveal anything, but so she was just not seen, or she didn't feel like she was herself enough to be seen.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's like, of course, you're very intuitive. um, it was, she didn't want to be seen, but also she escaped her body, right? She escaped herself because she was so focused on kind of being in this state of bliss that she forgot to kind of anchor in herself and to
Hmm.
start also taking the actions that she has been guided to take. Because it's almost like it's easy when we're up in the clouds, when we're connecting with the guides, when everything feels so positive. But when we come back into our body and we're not making the changes, especially when we get guidance to make the changes, or we get inclinations on doing something different, but we end up not doing that. I think she has definitely had a lot of that. And this is really her embodying herself and her energy. And I love that you were saying about the activation and how healing it was. So two things with that. It's I think everybody benefits from just looking at the imagery and connecting to it. And I will also say that people who have a similar either
Need.
frequency or
Mm,
need or even lineage to that person. So like,
mm,
for example, if you were like really connected to dolphins or whales or, aquatic mermaids, all these things, it's like you may be really drawn to this piece. And I love this piece so much because when she received it, she was also saying like her body was buzzing,
mm.
she also cried, and it's like, I'm amazed at how many people cry when they get their portraits, but it was really like never really seeing herself like that or having somebody reflect that they also see you like that. Right. It's like it's easy when, we're up in the higher realms and we're like we're all loved unconditionally. But then we come back to earth and we're like, am I really loved? you know? But when somebody can mirror that to you in the way that you see yourself, and the gifts and the beauty within you that you haven't even spoken to somebody can be reflected. It's, I think, very transformative.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump in really quick, everybody. And this is Stacey's website. And it's sacredkeycodes.com. Sacredkeycodes.com. And this is Stacey. This is the front page. And I'm going to jump all over to, I think it was in the about section. And this is more about soul code portraits. And you see here, she goes into all of, I don't know. Can you see that? Is it way too small?
I mean, it's pretty small, but
let me try and make it a little bigger. Sorry. So this is her website, and you'll see here if you go over to about, it's more about the code, soul code portraits, and she goes into why she does her work, and she has some of her pieces here. What are the Akashic Records? She explains everything, what happens in a reading, and she goes over everything, 30-minute reading, 60-minute reading, and she tells you a little bit more. And we're going to be going into this one next, and she has all of her portraits here on her website. It's just amazing. Is this active? Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. And you can see all the ones that I'm showing you here today are on her website. That's a neat. Oh, I can't do it anymore. Not sure why that. I don't see any more dots. But yeah, that was really very interesting. So if you guys are interested to find out more about the soul code portraits, go to Sacred Keycodes. Here, let me go to the homepage, sacredkeycodes.com. And this is the main page. And you can go to her services, and she'll go a little bit more into her services. Step 1, step 2. She's very, and these are the client testimonials. And and then when you go into the about, it'll tell you more about the portraits. And then over here is how you can contact Stacey directly from her website. And she also has a Instagram and Facebook as well. So I just wanted to make sure I showed everybody that before we continued.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. But I wanted to get into the next one. And but before we do, I'm interested. There's a change in you because of this. It's not because of this success. I feel as though because you are following where you're being led and you're accepting the opportunities, and this is a great challenge. This is a great pressure. There's a lot of expectation, and what can I do this? Can I? Will they be happy? And is it? There's a lot of unknowns, but what our spirit guides and angels tell us is that it's in the unknown. It's in the uncertainty where miracles exist. Because if we were certain, it's our limited idea of what we're certain. This is the control that as humans, as 3D, we want control and certainty. How is this going to come out? How is it going to turn out? How are they going to love it? Which way can I do it the same way for everybody? If one person love it, are all of them going to love it? There's just no certainty. The only certainty we have is that we follow our hearts. We follow where we're being led, and we trust. We trust that as long as we're feeling a resonating type of a feeling or connection, we're moving in the right direction. And does this ebb and flow for you, Stacey? Like, there's some days you're like, I'm just not really feeling like I need to paint today, and other days you're like jumping up out of bed saying, I got to paint all day. How does it go for you?
I think it very much is an ebb and flow, because part of it is you have to have that openness to follow that inspiration, to receive that guidance. And I think that's why I have a large allotted amount of time to do the paintings, because you you can get in your head about it, and you can, try to force it, and I could produce a painting, quickly, but then I would have to force it. And so I like to stay really open with them. And when I am inspired to paint is when I start, or like when I'm feeling high in energy, or even if it's just a nice day outside, I'll sit outside and paint. And it usually takes me a little bit, but I'll just drop into kind of that trance like flow where, when you're really doing something you love, be it a sports, a writing, or whatever it is, you kind of just zone out and you kind of just start creating. And then that's when the mental chatter kind of goes away. And that's when I can really start creating something. And I know I've been in that space when I'm painting, and then I'm like, how did I do that? It's like, what happened there? That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with each of my paintings, like I was telling you earlier, when I paint them, I always think like, well, I couldn't do that again, because it very much is in the moment. It's not like you can recite something you channeled verbally. It's not going to have the same resonance. It's not going to land the same. And I think the same thing with the painting. So, even taking this into your own life, just like Jean was saying, it's like really starting to let go of that expectation. And I think whenever you're following kind of that highest excitement in the moment, or that divine inspiration, it's like, even if that's not the thing, it's one step closer to what that thing might be, right? And I'm sure, like with the soul portraits, it's just another step on the path. And I'm also open to wherever it leads. And I keep telling everybody, they're like, what are you doing? What's next? How do you get work on all these things? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just open. I'm not even messing with it, because I've done that enough to try to force the path or try to figure things out. And like you said, it's just been very limiting. And then I think part of us also self-sabotages, because we're like, I do like this, this is something I enjoy. But then another part of us is like, but I also really like this, and I wanted to see what would happen if I did this. But we don't do that thing. So instead of questioning it, just go try it. And, it's not going to be a failure. It's going to be experience, right? And like I said, it's just more experience equals more clarity and more movement, right? And when we're in motion, that's when we can really get guided, because when things are flowing, it's easier to redirect than to try to start something from nothing, right? If you're just stagnant, you're sitting on the couch, you're questioning it, you're going to be stuck there until you get up and do something. And then the more you do, the easier it is to take a turn, go left instead of right, and to start building that energy and momentum.
Wow. Oof. Okay, let's see another one. Let me just add this in. I jumped out. Here's the next one. All right. So this one is quite intense, and they seem uh, very much in command of their energy. And I love this in their hand, this tool, this light. I just absolutely love it, and I love this aspect of them. I love that you feel the higher vibrational aspect of our soul. So. And then I love the sacred geometry in every single one of these, but I love the
Yeah.
Metatron's cube especially, and it's just it's very very powerful. This one. What can you tell us about this one?
Yeah. So like I remember this one at the beginning, it was like very linear lines, like you can see in the background where there's all these lines that I was like placing as I was just adding all the color on. And then there was this beautiful wave of energy that came through. And the message for this one was catch it on a wave. And the reason that came through so much for this one is because, like, I was really tapping into how this is a potential last lifetime if he's willing to step up and do the work. And with all the geometries, it was also very interesting because I mean, I learned so much through this piece myself because, like, as I was creating the geometries, you know, I felt like I was really transported into this higher dimensional aspect. And when I channeled, you know, what it meant, it was both that the geometry was a way for him to activate his own DNA and his soul remembrance and get him to use his logical, beautiful mind that he has that's so sharp, and to let go of it through focusing on the precision and the structure of the geometry, right? Because it's like, I will tell you, I did the geometry and it's very hard. You know, it's so precise. If you're off, like, you know, just a degree, everything gets all wonky. And so using that really helps him really connect to that higher aspect. And then, you know, through divine synchronicity, as I was channeling the writing, I was listening to something. It wasn't even about sacred geometry, but the guy was talking about how when you create sacred geometry, your right and left hemisphere start to synchronize, and you also start to produce DMT, and it activates your pineal gland. And it does all these things. And I was like, that is crazy, because it mirrored exactly what I channeled. And I was just like, so powerful. So it's like such a confirmation. And then with the hand reaching out, or like you were saying, he very much has like this guardian quality, a beautiful Pleiadian aspect. And he also he was very much one of those souls who wasn't very anchored, kind of like a cosmic traveler, where he went into these very multidimensional aspects within his lifetime. And the hand reaching out was the invitation for him to step back into himself, right? Instead of searching outside of himself and through all these other things. And also it's the little device in the hand. He very much is a healer and very activated through his hands. And he there was also something that came through around like working with the meridians in the body and recalibrating and stuff. And it was so interesting because like I'm writing all these things and I'm always like, this sounds so, you know, crazy. It's like, I have no idea that I don't know this person for one. And you're just really having to stay open. But when I gave him his channeling, he was just like, wow, it resonates so deeply. And he was like, not only does it match what a lot of other channelers and psychics said, but it was like, he said it was more in depth and like so much more than all of those combined. And I was just like, well, thanks. You know, I was like humbled myself. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Amazing. Amazing. And I see that it's, I didn't realize how transparency, and you could see the mountains right through him. That's amazing. Just that your technique and your skill is really just amazing. And I see that this swirl comes all the way up through him. And I saw it here and I saw it there, but I didn't realize it was traveling.
Yeah.
And are these the meridians that you're talking? I mean, these aren't the meridians, but would that be part of that healing through the meridians that you saw?
Yeah, again, it's like a very multi-dimensional aspect. So part of it was about clearing his physical vessel. Part of it is also about the activation of his energy and, you know, that Kundalini energy rising and falling, you know, that beautiful spiral synergy that it makes. And it's like so it's so hard to describe these sometimes. Like when I sit down to channel the writings for them, it's like, how am I going to say everything that's meant to be said in this? And like, there's always more to be said. So I do my best.
I believe that these symbols are all around us. This is the energy in our energy field when we focus and do our work and do, you know, when we change dimensions, all of these, I feel that all of these, not the actual symbols themselves, but these symbols sort of illustrate for me the energy frequency that's changing around us, that's shifting and changing. But it's just so beautiful to see it illustrated. Just beautiful. So
Yeah.
let's just jump right on to the next, and we'll try and go. Just I don't I can't. Let me just see how many more. Yeah, we have like four more. So maybe I don't want to tire you out, but this one's so beautiful. It's, oh my God, the water, the
Mhm.
dragon,
Mhm.
the Mother Nature, the unicorn. This
Yeah.
is and the crystal
Crown.
crown. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, just so beautiful. Everything. I mean, it's there's more. There's more. I mean, look at that lady. I mean, it's just amazing. Just
Yeah.
and the light that you. This is so beautiful, and I can see. I don't know if these are chronological, but it's just so much more detail, so much more
Mhm.
alive, and so much. There's a lot of symbology in this one.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. This one came through with so much symbology, and I think they are actually in chronological order. But I remember this one. She was very, very much. Oh, I think at the beginning, it was interesting because I heard this phrase as I was painting it, and it was, "I was never meant to be here for so long." And I thought, huh, that's interesting. And like as the painting developed, it's like it really is like she was really in the earth from the beginning, like at the time of the dragons and the unicorns, and that she held this Akashic record. Um, I think part of it came through that she was an Akashic scribe for the earth records.
oh,
And she was also like with the tree of life and the shamanic energy that came through with, you know, being a bridge for the other side. And like though that tree was so full of like not just light but like soul energy of souls transitioning to the other side. And I mean there was so much with this one, like you said, it was so many details and stuff, but I absolutely love this one and the energy behind it. Yeah, it was
so you
very
you obviously can't paint everything at once. So
yeah.
do you, do you like did you get a couple of different aspects and have to give yourself a note of what you saw to refer back to, or is it just you open up and you allow the paintbrush to bring through each new image
Yeah, like this one, it was just like I said, it starts with just the person. And like from the person, everything starts to bridge off. Like I remember one of the first things that came in, like I didn't even plan, it's not like I think we should put a dragon here. It was just like there's a dragon there. And then I just made it I just made it pop out more. And then it's like all these beautiful water spirals. It's like they just started to emerge from themselves. And like with the green side of the gown, it was just like I could feel this energy connected to the earth, and like all these beautiful plants started to arise from it. And then it was just like this beautiful mystical garden, and there's like a little bunny down there in her sleeve and a bird, and then the unicorn. And then on the other side it was just like very cosmic, and there was just these beautiful rainbow waves of energies and these little two pixies dancing and having that beautiful playful energy. And I forgot, like, what I was talking about earlier, um, about when it was like I was never meant to be here for so long, because she is a very old soul, not just like an old soul, because like most people are old souls, but it was like almost very earth-based old soul, and very elemental energies and connections. And when I channeled it, it brought me back to her lifetime in Lemuria. And her reason for staying for so long is because she wanted to see the ascension of the planet, and she wanted to experience a lifetime on New Earth. She didn't just want to be here for the shift, but she
hmm
wanted to be here for the aftermath. And it was talking about that beautiful journey, and it was just like it was just so beautiful. So yeah.
Wow. And you learn, like you
Mhm.
don't know these things until you've painted them, or I guess you're open and you hear and you connect. while you're painting, and it's something that you hadn't considered before. Like it's some of it is new for you as you're painting it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This one is beautiful. Now, was she pregnant here or?
So this one's interesting because I just had to bring this piece through. It wasn't a soul code portrait.
Oh.
And it was very much around the divine feminine, right? And it's like, I never paint in reds, I never do all these things, but I was like just feeling so drawn to do it. And I didn't even have a title for this piece, nothing. And then I posted it up on my Facebook page, and then a lady reached out to me and she was like, that's me. You painted me. And she's in the process of writing this book. And I was telling her, about the piece, and I said it doesn't even have a name or anything. And she's like, well, I want it, and I want you to do a reading on it for me. And what came through for it was legacy of light, and it was her weaving her legacy of light from her career, also being a spiritual medium, Akashic record reader, healer, and doing all of these things. And she's leaving her imprint here. And it was so interesting, all the synchronicities that popped up with everything. It's like everything in the painting was for her. She was like, even the bears, she's like, bears are my spirit animal. She's like, when I look at the painting, I'm that lady there weaving this light. And just like, it was so beautiful and transformational. And yeah, I really love this piece.
Beautiful. I actually got this heart with the crown connected to it doing another somebody else's reading. I'll have to tell you about that later, but okay. Just remind me, because I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that.
Okay. And then I think this one and one more. So this one is amazing.
Yeah.
He's obviously a channeler. I just want to see what I'm getting from it. Wow. I'm not sure if it has to do with healing as well, but I'm definitely getting him channeling, yeah. And I feel like he also spends a lot of time in the astral realm.
Yeah. There was a lot to this one as well. It came through very multidimensionally. And for this one, it was also very interesting because I think at the beginning, what I received for it was all exists within the void. And it was really tapping into almost like his journey to looking outside to find all these things that gave him that remembrance of who he was or what he should be doing or what his path looks like. And it was almost like a little bit of a loss, right? Like, and the huge thing was like within that void, it was like I don't know if it comes through in the picture, but it was like he was opening himself up and he was connecting to that still point, that darkness within him where all that potentiality lies, and really bringing that energy up to reach that light and to remember. And there was a lot around telepathic communication and this clairaudience ability. And it was really interesting with this one because the colors were so bright and vivid. And when I channeled it, I was like, his third eye is just like wide open, it was just like, and in the channeling, it was something around like using plant medicines, and then they confirmed that, and I was just like, wow. It's just so interesting. And finding a way to really ground that activation that he had and really connecting in with the earth and himself, and almost taking the space to enter this darkness rather than like keep seeking, because it's like everything's blown open. Now you need to integrate, now you need to start searching deeper into that. And Another interesting thing about this one was it was almost like he was very connected to vibration, frequency, crystals, sound. And I think, and he's also very empathic. So I think it was almost like he has all these beautiful gifts and stuff, but they're that untangible, unprovable thing, right? It's like you can feel frequency, you know it, especially you because you're very intuitive. But, telling just a normal person, these crystals are amazing. It's kind of sure. So I think his journey particular was really about his own self-validation and strengthening his own inner intuition. So
I love that they have not only Akashic record reading, but the healing aspect is continuous and
yeah.
energetic and frequency, not only in the painting, but in the soul, and being able to integrate it and see it and be faced with that energy of the Akashic record reading, having that energy like exist with you and vibrate, and you can, so that you can look at it and absorb it. And like you said, it means different things on different days. And as he evolves and he develops his own acceptance of who he is, then
Mm-hmm.
he'll see the next thing. Then
Yeah.
he'll see, then he'll realize, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, I feel this now. Like he understands it, but it's on a different level. And this is the spiral of learning that so many of us find it difficult to be patient with and allow for the learning to evolve, and that we can't know everything all at once. We may be presented with sacred geometry, but in order for it to make sense to us, it needs to evolve and integrate. And it may take us years to fully understand and be a witness to what sacred geometry may be for us and what that means for us and why it resonates with us or why it doesn't resonate with us. There's just so many different, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So this one is amazing. Just, if you want to just tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, I agree. This one was very almost like I remember painting it and I felt like very drawn to just like the clouds, the sky, space, and almost like I was raising my frequency as I was creating the painting itself.
Mm,
And it was really interesting because I had never connected with this aspect, but it was this blue avian energy that came in like so strongly, and they are just so high vibrational.
mm,
It just really feels like you're lightning, you're rising, you're bringing in this higher dimensional aspect. And there's just so many things with this one, even though like I part of me, it's like I think it looks simple, but part of me is like there's so much in there. I don't know where to start. But definitely, I guess one of so the theme with this one was like it's time to rise, and it was really stepping up into that higher spiritual part of themselves, where not only were they switching from being this very supportive role where they kind of provided strength for others, but also being that strength for themselves. And there was a lot around activating the new human template, and almost like not only like these Egyptian codes, but also these geometries, and like with the platonic solids and everything, that there was this real ability to tap into the physical vessel and start to activate these different templates within. And like it was just so interesting. I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain everything that came through
so
this
who
one.
is the woman?
So, oh yeah, this is another interesting aspect of this one, because I remember when I was doing the channeling, it was almost like this person was very like spiritual in a way, but at the same time they said not necessarily intuitive, but very in tune, and in tune with what's going on around them, other people's feelings and stuff, and not so much maybe the psychic abilities. And so it was, she was this bridge for him to connect to this higher collective consciousness that has been trying to reach him to help him complete this work with this higher
Wow.
aspect of healing. And it was almost having this physical form that was easy to kind of represent in the mind and to have a conversation with, than almost like this collective form where it was almost like, am I making this up? Who are you? What is this? So she's like this bridge guide to help him connect to his higher consciousness.
That's amazing. Really, I mean, and I mean, the energy, the frequency, the quality of your artwork, and it's very difficult to get somebody's expression. Look at his kind face, his kind eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
just the muscle tension in his cheek. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I just
Yeah,
love every aspect. And it's just, I mean, portraits are hard to begin with, but it's really just extremely well done. All of the feelings, all of the information, it's really quite beautiful. So
thank you.
when you do, if you don't mind me asking, and forgive me if you already said it, when you're together with your client and you do a Zoom call with them and you do an Akashic record reading, and do you record it?
Okay, so with the soul code portrait specifically, the way that I do it is I have a clarity call. And really the main reason that I have that is to help my client anchor in an intention, right? Because you know this from probably all the readings that you've done, the stronger that that person's intention is and the more willing that they are to open up, the more comes through for everyone else. So I really have that to help them do that and just to connect with their energy, because some of the ones that I did in the beginning were literally just email and photo. And I was like, okay, I'll do my best. And so I like having that human connection where I can just get a sense of their energy and have that connection so they know me and I know them, and it's not just some weird person on the internet that we never see. And then after that I will tell them that 4 to 8 weeks until your painting's done. And I offer people to get updates on the painting and how it evolves, but most people say, no, I just want to be surprised because they really do evolve. Like, I may start one way, but I cannot promise that anything will stay because it transforms as I paint more and like things get refined and they change. And then once that's done, I channel the writing and I actually write it up and give them a digital copy, just because it's like there's so much to go through that if I just sat on a short call with them, they would just come back to me with multiple questions, and it would be never ending. And so I even give the disclaimer, just like, this is going to evolve with you and this is what's coming through at this time, and to be open and to even open yourself up to the piece. And so I'll mail it off and I'll either give them the writing digital or printed. And then I've also added an integration call, because I send the paintings off and I'm like, oh, I wonder what, like I usually get like an email back, but then I'm like, I really want to know, like what they think about it or if they have any other questions. So I offer that because usually people do have extra questions where they're just curious about a certain aspect or they want to dive deeper into a certain gift, ability, how to activate it, or a certain lifetime that came up. And that's just another option. And then after that, it's just they're off with their piece and they can contact me if they need to in the future.
Wow. Just I mean, amazing, brilliant. Everybody's saying powerfully beautiful, very interesting. Yeah, just amazing. Everybody's been loving it, and I've been trying to put up your messages here. It's really just beautiful and extremely inspiring. And I love, it's a beautiful way of connecting your artwork with the spirituality, with the ascension, with the light codes, with the, all of the information, and you evolving and you bringing this through. But it's not just you. I feel as though, and from what you told me, you're channeling it. It's coming through you, but it's also coming from you. Your soul's aspect, your soul's expression is coming through, and allowing your soul to express itself allows for that information to come through you. And it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of, trial, and evolving, and, you know, learning different things, and taking what resonates and leaving the rest, and then learning something new and learning something different. And you just never know. And it also has to do with the way that the frequency and vibration is in humanity on this earth. And like you said, if the people are ready, it's really just so beautiful. And I feel as though you're ahead of your time as far as the light codes and the frequency and the healing in the painting. Because it's color has frequency and vibration, which is very healing. And I love that you said I must resonate with her whatever medicine or whatever she needed to work on, I must be needing to work on as well, which is true. And feeling that way, like I felt it. But no, it was very, very interesting to see the soul portrait and understand sort of some of the aspects. It's I just can't say enough about it. It's brilliant. So the one behind you is a work in progress. It is not quite finished. And you don't give yourself a time. You say within a couple of months, or you don't say any kind of an end date, right?
Yeah, I say that I aim for 4 to 8 weeks, and most people are understanding because sometimes it takes longer and sometimes I have more orders come in. Like right now, I think I have like 6. So it's just like it might be a little longer than it was, intended, but it all comes through in divine timing, as everyone says. And yeah, it's just a lot of layers. And I think that's part of where that transparency comes in, because it's like they're literal layers on top of layers, and they like weave together somehow. And yeah, I just stay open to it, and, also trust that what's coming through when it comes through is meant to come through at that time. And the other layers that add on top of it also come through when they are supposed to.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Sacredkeycodes.com if you want to learn a little bit more about Stacey. And are you doing anything on your YouTube channel?
I'm not doing anything currently. I think this year has really been a kind of refinement period for myself and opening up to something new. And I think next year, we'll have a goal to kind of start sharing my message, because, it kind of even evolves past the soul code portraits. There's a lot of wisdom that comes through. And, even in just the client sessions alone, it's like, I also learn things, I'm also like amazed. And I think there's a beautiful sacred space where we can all share that. And I've also been thinking about doing a podcast series where it's really almost like having that heart-to-heart conversation that, you get to have with your friends, your other spiritual friends in private, that you're like, I wish the world could hear this, and I have a vision for that sometime in the future, whenever that comes. So,
wow, I think that's beautiful, because an hour a week or something like that would definitely be doable. It would be able to channel your energy in a different way. And yeah, no, that sounds really, really nice. And it's important for us to stay, in connection with this aspect of ourselves, and follow where energy, leads us, and to trust and try not to control, try to, we were talking backstage, and I said, sometimes we go through this imposter syndrome, like, you can't call me an artist. I'm not, like, or whatever. Who am I to think I can do that? Like, we always go through that, but that's just our limiting beliefs and our conditioning and things. And you can see when we let all that go, that's why we say let it go. And we say that's no longer serving you, those beliefs. And you're much more than that. You're being led here. The energies are different. You're moving, you're changing. We create in the now moment is when we are creating, when we're co-creating with the universe, and I'm just trying to tie it all around for everybody when they say, oh, Jean, you always talk about frequency and vibration. And they roll their eyes and they say, oh, Jean, you're always talking about the chakras. Girls, kids, you look, I'm telling you, that's what it's all about. It's really big. It's basic, it's simple, but it's so vast at the same time. It all ties together. So I know these are absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you kind of looked at your own abilities and your own goals and how you might be standing in your own way or maybe limiting your own beliefs, and maybe just set them down, set them aside. You can pick up those old beliefs again if you want, and just try something. Like just without knowing what the outcome is going to be, you know, and and allow the miracles to come in and listen and watch for the opportunities to come up and to call on you. Hey, Stacey. They'll call on you. They
Yeah.
will. If you give them room, let go of the outcome. That's when they'll call on you. They'll say, "Oh, she's ready now. She let go of the control. Now we can come in and help guide her." It really, this is so, I could talk to you for 10 more hours. There's so much here. And I just want everybody to maybe just consider, you know, um, what this might mean for you too, how you can apply any of this information or any of this example to your own life and your own decisions and your own opportunities. And it's a beautiful reminder. Thank you so very much for being here, Stacey, for sharing all of your beautiful artwork, your process, all and so many details. I'm in awe. Just thank you so very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jean. I really appreciate it. And I definitely agree with what you said. And I hope that everybody, can pick up something from this, even if it is just letting go a little bit and also just being open because, like, I think the first portrait I ever did was like in 2020 and I never drawn a portrait before, but I was like, I just felt drawn to draw one. And even though I thought it's not going to lead to anything, the things start to come together, and it's just like a lot of, I think the spiritual practitioners today, they're learning to weave their different modalities together. So it's like one time they're very drawn to Reiki, but then they're also want to be a psychic medium. And then, wow, they create a beautiful container to heal people who are going through, a lot of grief and heartache. And even, maybe they learn to do Reiki for past loved ones and help them clear and have a clean slate. So it's like there's so many openings for us. And I think, especially now more than ever, there's no set rule system, right? It's like there's the rules are breaking down, the norms are breaking down, and we have the potential to be so much more than we ever thought possible, and to even create and do what we love, than ever before. And we can either pass that up by limiting ourselves with our old belief systems and what the world says we should be, or we can start embracing the change ahead of time because the world is really headed for a lot of monumental change to where I think we're going to be stripped of a lot of the things that gave us security and identity to where we're going to have to start creating that for ourselves. And you might as well get a head start. So I really hope that everybody who was listening found something for themselves. And I really appreciate you having me on, Jean. And thank you for all your beautiful words and inspiration. And yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, I'll be back this afternoon at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific with Terry Lee from Pure Visionary, and we're going to be doing the Psychic Triad this afternoon. I hope to see you guys back, and thank you again, Stacey. I am going to rewatch this myself because I know with me asking all the questions, I missed some of it. I'm going to rewatch it. So thank you all very much for coming. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.